Hi, it's me, Dr. Prasad Potilam, on my YouTube channel, My Intuition. I'm offering free regular classes on chemistry as well as entrance coaching classes on chemistry as well as learning maths. So this class is class number 4 of structure of atoms. The topics which are covering are drawbacks of Rutherford's model, wave nature, electromagnetic spectrum, diffraction and interference. So the main drawbacks of Rutherford nuclear model will be discussed here. So Rutherford compared his model, or Rutherford's model can be compared with that of small-scale solar system, with nucleus playing the role of the massive sun and electrons being similar to the lighter planet. That we can say that our Earth is revolving around, or it passes through a particular orbit around the sun. Sun is the heaviest planet, and compared to sun, our Earth is very small. And the Earth's rotation is not only due to the gravitational force or attractive force of that of Sun, it is also influenced by the other planets. Therefore, we can say as per classical mechanics, that is how the Newton's law is applied to the heavier objects. The planets orbit the Sun with the gravitational force between the planets, which is given by the expression G multiplied by m1 m2 upon r square, where m1 m2 are the masses and r is the distance, g is the gravitational constant. If you compare the nuclear model of Rutherford and that of the solar system, is almost the same. So the Coulomb's force of attraction between electrons and nucleus, or the attractive force of the planet and the sun. Okay, like that, if we compare, you can say that the Coulomb's force of attraction between of electron and nucleus is mathematically given as k into q1 q2 upon r square, in which q1 and q2 are the charges, r is the distance, k is the proportionality constant. Therefore you can say almost they are similar, only the thing that here in case of nuclear model, we have the electrons are charged particles. Therefore charged particles on acceleration, or in acceleration, it emits electromagnetic radiation given by Maxwell's electromagnetic theory. That means the electron, it is a charge, it is having a negative charge. If it is supposed to go around the nucleus in a circular path, it is moving in a circular path means it is changing direction. Any particle, if it changes direction or changes its velocity, it creates the acceleration. The acceleration is there. So as per Maxwell's electromagnetic theory, when a charged particle on acceleration, it will either emit the electromagnetic radiation. Therefore, it has to go near to the nucleus, or the electron which are near to the nucleus, if gives a charge, extra charge is given, then electron can go away from the nucleus. That is the property given by Maxwell's electromagnetic theory. Therefore, as per the theory, the electrons in a circular path, it will spiral out, it will spirally, and it finally it will fall to the nucleus. Therefore, predicted that calculation shows that electron will take only 10 to the power minus 8 seconds to spiral into the nucleus. Therefore, Rutherford failed to explain this particular property of the electron charged particle. As well as Rutherford failed to explain the distribution of electrons on the space around the nucleus also. So wave nature of electromagnetic radiation, it was studied. Even in the mid 19th century, the studies on absorption and emission of radiation by heated objects, which we call as thermal radiation, started. Thermal radiation consists of electromagnetic waves of various frequencies and wavelength. The first active study on this wave nature or electromagnetic spectrum was done in 1850s. In 1870s, James Clerk Maxwell proposed the theory of electromagnetic waves by accelerating charged particles. The electric as well as magnetic. Electromagnetic means it consists of electric field as well as magnetic field. So these components have the same wavelength, same frequency, same speed and amplitude, but they vibrate in two mutually perpendicular planes if they are produced from an accelerated charge simultaneously. So electromagnetic spectrum, there are many types. So there are many electromagnetic radiation which just differ by the wavelength or frequency. So these constitute what we call as the electromagnetic spectrum. So electromagnetic spectrum we can represent with increasing wavelength. So this is the representation of increasing the wavelength. So wavelength is increasing. So as wavelength increases, obviously the energy will be decreasing. As wavelength is increasing, energy is decreasing. Therefore, wavelength is represented as lambda. It is unit is meter, or it can be represented. The electromagnetic spectrum can be represented in terms of frequency, nu, that is hertz or second inverse. So as the wavelength increases, the frequency will be decreasing. So the lowest frequency or the highest wavelength, they are radio waves. Radio waves in the range of 10 to the power 6 to 10 to the power 3, in that range, whatever electromagnetic radiation, what we call as radio waves. So when I say about radio, there are two main components, two terms that comes to our mind. They are AM and FM. AM is comparatively lower frequency, 10 to the power 6, whereas FM is 10 to the power 8, the frequency. Or you can say 540 to 1600 kilohertz is the frequency range of AM, and 88.1 to 108.1 megahertz is the frequency range of FM. So what is the difference between AM and FM? That is schematically represented here. AM can be represented like this, FM is represented like this. That is how the signals are passed, whether it is amplitude modulated or frequency modulated. FM, that is frequency modulation. AM, that is amplitude modulation. Coming to the electromagnetic spectrum, further increasing the frequency or higher frequency waves, we call it as microwaves. Microwaves mainly used for the radar applications. Radio waves, we know how it is used, and the microwaves are used for radar applications. Then comes the infrared at a range of 10 to the power 12 hertz frequency. That is infrared. Infrared is mainly used for heating purpose and all. If you go to 10 to the power 18, they are X-rays, and we know the applications of X-rays. And higher frequency rays, we call it as gamma rays. So here in between, okay, so 10 to the power 15, 10 to the power 16, we call it as ultraviolet rays, and at the point of 10 to the power 15 frequency, they are the visible spectrum. That is the only spectrum which a human being or with a naked eye we can see, observe. The SI unit of frequency, nu, is hertz. That is the name of that scientist that as a contribution. His contributions are recognized as giving the SI unit of frequency as hertz, or actually it is per second. It is defined as the number of waves that pass a given point in 1 second. That means in 1 second, how many waves will pass in a given point. That is known as the hertz. SI unit of wavelength is the unit of length. Okay, so meter. Or since radio electromagnetic spectrum having smaller length, we can use smaller units also. In vacuum, all electromagnetic radiation travel at the same speed of 3 multiplied by 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Whatever may be the wavelength or whatever may be the frequency in vacuum, not in a medium. Vacuum means there is no, nothing is there. Okay, so we call it as vacuum. Okay, so this is called as speed of light. 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second, we call it as speed of light. By C, exact value if you say, that is 2.997525 multiplied by 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Frequency nu, wavelength lambda, and the speed of light c, they are interconnected by expression c equal to nu lambda. Okay, so this is an important, you can find the applications. By knowing this value, we can find the different frequencies, the distance of the radio station, and also many applications that we'll discuss in later. The other commonly used quantity is wavelength, nu bar. We call it as number of wavelengths per unit length. The two terms which are connected to the wave nature of the electromagnetic spectrum, that is diffraction and interference, which are supporting the wave nature. So diffraction, it is schematically represented here. So through a small orifice, there will be bending of the waves. We can say it is a bending of waves around the corners of an obstacle. If I take the example of sound waves, even if an obstacle is there, which we can see the line of sight, there is an obstacle, but still we can hear the sound. Sound waves can bend, and we can hear that. That particular property of waves is known as diffraction. Interference, for example, it is mainly better to explain with light waves. Okay, so light waves, when it is allowed to pass through small orifices, through small holes nearby holes. So there will be a waves can interact. So you can see that waves are coming out of the first horn as well as on the second point. Okay, so two waves they superimpose or they superpose, and which results in the form of increasing the amplitude or lowering the amplitude, or you may get the same amplitude. So you can see this type of light images when we allow the light to pass through small orifice too close nearby orifice. We call it as constructive or destructive interference. Okay, so constructive or destructive interference are caused when the amplitude of the light are almost same. Okay, almost same frequency sound light waves or the waves are passed through two orifice. Okay, so same source or because they have the same nearly frequency. So thank you very much for watching my videos. More classes are getting uploaded to my YouTube channel, My Intuition. Please do subscribe my YouTube channel and support me. Once again, thank you very much and have a nice day.